Hello, I'm Joe Baca Jr., San Bernardino County Supervisor for the 5th District. As a former teacher and coach for Rialto High School, I've had the pleasure of teaching hundreds of students. It's currently the end of the school year, which means graduation time. I've had the pleasure of seeing many of my students go off to do amazing things in their lives and careers. And today I have the honor of sitting here with Adamari Romano, a former student and recent graduate of La Sierra University. Hello, Adamari. Nice to see you. How's everything been going for you?
Everything's been really going well for me. Now that I graduated school, I applied for the Rialto Police Department to become a police trainee, sir.
Okay, so what are you doing in the meantime while you're doing this training and going to school? Are you working currently?
So I used to work 2 jobs. I got hired on at Starbucks as a barista, and then I also got hired on as parking enforcement officer for Rialto PD as part-time. I quit Starbucks maybe like in October, decided to focus more on school. It was my senior year, and currently I'm still doing parking enforcement as we speak.
So share some experiences that maybe you had as a parking enforcement officer.
Some experience. I think something that I really enjoy about the job, it's not always about, just citing vehicles or enforcing the law. It's also about connecting with the community. Something that I really like about this job is that I have the ability to be able to educate a lot of the community, because there's a lot of codes or just things that I didn't even know until I came onto the job. So just being able to educate the citizens and seeing like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Like now that they know that, they don't do it again. And I think that's kind of like a win-win situation for both of us, which I really like.
Oh, that's great. The point you make is educating the community is a big component of government. So tell us about your major at La Sierra University. What was your major?
My major was criminal justice. I went with criminal justice because I wanted to be a law enforcement officer.
Oh, wow. No, I think that's great. So tell us about your experience and why you wanted to become a law enforcement officer. Why be a law enforcement officer?
I remember it was my senior year in high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to do something with law because I like the fact that, laws are always switching. I love learning. I like learning new things. But I remember my senior year in high school, I was in a law enforcement class. I remember my teacher, Mr. Alvo, he was a law enforcement officer. So he actually guided me a lot. I remember there was a public safety internship academy. He helped me get into it. I ended up doing that my senior year of high school. I remember my senior year of high school, I also did the Explorers for Rialto Police. So I've been with the department as a volunteer as well since 2017. And I feel like that helped me guide into see wow, this is really for me, because I've always been the type of person that I've always wanted to help people. I've always been the type to, be there for others. I've always wanted people to rely on me when they needed help, because being a police officer is it's not only about, arresting people, arresting the bad guys, it's being there for others and helping out the community. And I grew up in Rialto. My best interest is in the city of Rialto, so that's why I wanted to be a Rialto police officer.
Oh, that's great that you show compassion and that you care about people. And during this COVID time, how has it been? Have you noticed any changes in the law enforcement profession since COVID's been around?
Yes, definitely. More as in, we haven't been able to, as a department, been able to interact with the community as much as we can. We usually have National Night Out or events for the community. This has been more through drive-thrus now. And it's unfortunate because it's just we don't really relate to the children or the people of the community, because usually in events like that, we usually talk to them. People ask us questions like, hey, what should I do over this or that? If they have any concerns, they go ahead and let us know. But ever since COVID, it's kind of been harder to be able to communicate with them. I feel like there's been a lack of communication with us, and I feel like once COVID is over, we will be able to reunite again.
No, you bring up a good point. I think the big point is that relationships between the community and law enforcement need to be strong, and the more interaction you have, the more you can foster and build those relationships, but also educate people and let them know their rights and being helpful. I think that's a good point. So what do you think your plans are going to be now? Yeah, I know that you've applied for the Rialto PD. Why stay in the community? Why not apply? You could apply anywhere in the state of California. Why stay in Rialto?
The reason why I want to stay in Rialto is, like I mentioned before, I grew up there. I'm I understand that they'll have like over half of the population speaks Spanish. I speak Spanish because I'm thankful for my parents. And I just feel like my best interest is there as well. I'm able to empathize with the people rather than sympathize, like, because if someone tells me like, hey, this went on and stuff, I would believe it. I'd be like, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from because I lived there, I went through it. And I remember growing up, just like being able to speak Spanish, it helped a lot too. I would always have to translate for my parents. And as a park enforcement officer now, like just the relief I see on people's faces when they're like, hey, do you speak Spanish? And I'm like, oh yes, I do, And they're like, oh, okay. And then they tell me like what's going on, what their concerns are, and me being able to speak Spanish with them just like helps out a lot. Like I could just see like the relief that they have, and I wish my parents would have had that too when I was growing up.
Yeah, and you bring up some good points. I think you bring some good strengths. You're bilingual, you're from the community, you've been in explorers, you have a lot of experience with parking enforcement, so I think you would be a great asset to the Rialto PD. I'm not speaking on behalf of Kling, but I think you would be a great asset. So I guess, just want to ask you one last question. As you look forward in your career, is there anything you want to do besides being a law enforcement officer? You have higher aspirations other than a law enforcement officer?
Probably just move up in the ranks of it, help out others too. I've had a lot of mentors as an explorer, as a student, and I really aspire to be something like that too, because like throughout everything, like my parents have been a great support. I was like, my teachers, just like you were a great support. I've had great mentors, and I really hope that as I move up in ranks, once I do get in the field, I'll be able to be a mentor for them too, because my Explorer advisors were also a great mentor for me too. They always gave me guidance. So that's what I hope to be for others, to help them out too, and see like this is a really great career for them too.
No, that's great. We're just very, very proud of you. So how does it make you feel, like the last question, being a young Latina choosing to go in law enforcement? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel that, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Like I'm very grateful because at a young age, when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to have like all these teachers, all these mentors, like not everyone's lucky to have that. And I just feel that, my parents were always a great support. They're, my backbone. The community has done so much for me that I want to be able to give back to them too, because it's just my way of saying thank you to them too.
Wow, that's great. So, I just want to wish Adamari good luck. We're very proud of you. I'm very proud of you personally as your former teacher and history teacher, and seeing you grow and mature as a young lady and wanting to come back and serve our community at the capacity of being a law enforcement officer. And we need good law enforcement officers in our community, people that have compassion for the community, can see the bigger picture, and I think you'd be a great asset. So, I just want to wish you good luck and, have a great career, and we look forward to seeing you in the community.
Thank you, I appreciate that, sir.
Thank you.